Perseus frowned. Winnie also lowered her head shyly. He actually wanted to provoke Perseus by doing something against his will, hoping to get punished in return, expressionlessly. Yes, Eagle Peak City. The carriage began to move slowly. Chapter 126 Night Talk in the Woods. The laws of the Shirinria Empire stipulate that all cities within its territory must close their gates at sunset and not open them again until sunrise the following day, without exception. By the time Perseus and his companion's carriage had traveled halfway, it was already dark. Even if we travel in the dark, we won't be able to get into the city, so we might as well just find a place to set up camp. Perseus chose a rather dense forest nearby, drove the carriage in, and then erased the traces on the ground, which would avoid a lot of trouble. They found a fairly spacious clearing in the woods and lit a campfire. You won't see the campfire from the main road next to it unless you go into the forest. If someone enters the forest, they will have to consider whether they can save their life. After eating something by the campfire, Ivaisa returned to the carriage and looked up at the starry sky through the gaps in the foliage. The starry sky outside the capital is always exceptionally bright and dazzling. Especially in such a desolate mountain wilderness, it is the perfect place to quietly appreciate the endless starry sky and let your heart be completely occupied, pushing all your worries into a corner. Perseus silently came to her side. Ivaisa continued to gaze at the starry sky, a slight pursing of her lips. "Can I have some time alone?" she asked. "I just came over for a bit. I didn't bother you. You can completely pretend I don't exist," Perseus said with a smile. Ivaisa remained silent, and Perseus, sitting beside her, wisely kept quiet as well. Over at the campfire, Winnie was happily roasting a small bird that Katie had casually caught earlier. Katie hugged her knees and stared at the fire, oblivious to everything around her. Carol frowned as she looked at Winnie, still somewhat incredulous that this woman had just gutted such a cute little bird. Of the 5 people in the group, Winnie was the happiest. Perseus and Ivaisa each have a lot on their minds and heavy burdens on their shoulders, making it very difficult for them to be happy. Needless to say, Katie doesn't even know what happiness is, and of course, she doesn't care about being unhappy either. Her mind is only focused on her own goals. She's a complete bot. Carol is basically a random passerby who gets dragged into this mess and is forced to travel with a group of weirdos she just met, one of whom is a villain who did something unforgivable to her. If she can be happy about it, she's a genius. Only Winnie has been happy ever since she left the capital. She seemed to genuinely treat this as a summer vacation trip. Leaving the familiar, unchanging capital city, I traveled to other places to experience local customs and culture, spending my days eating, drinking, and enjoying different scenery, and handling affairs. From this perspective, these big-breasted women could actually be described as innocent and naive, leaving Perseus both admiring and speechless. However, it's a good thing that she can be so optimistic and cheerful. All he had to do was bring her out exactly as she was, and then bring her back exactly as she was after the summer vacation, neither causing any deaths nor causing any deaths. In this way, everyone is happy and the mission is accomplished. Perseus's gaze lingered on Winnie for too long before he suddenly noticed Ivaisa looking over. Perseus snapped to attention and quickly put on a smile. "I haven't even asked you yet. What do you think of my actions regarding my family's changes?" The same old twisted sense of humor. Ivaisa showed no mercy. Perseus could not deny it. "But it did feel somewhat satisfying," she added. "I'm glad you're satisfied." Perseus's smile was deliberately obsequious. "When do you plan to treat your older brother's illness?" Ivaisa asked. "Treatment? Why do we need treatment?" Perseus asked, bewildered. "Isn't it better to just let him be a castrated dog like this? He used to suppress me and Gade by using his status as the eldest son, saying that he and his descendants were the rightful heirs and that we were just freeloaders. Now that he's childless, he can't use that as an excuse anymore." "But didn't you promise your father and the others?" "Yes, but I didn't set a time limit. It's not certain whether it's a month or 2 later, or 100 or 200 years later. They brought this on themselves, so I won't call you scum this time." Ivaisa thought for a moment. "Thank you," Perseus smiled. Then he smiled faintly. "But my punishment for the couple goes far beyond that." "What else do you want to do?" Ivaisa asked. "Of course, we'll do what will cause them the most pain," Perseus said. "The most painful thing for them isn't that their heir can no longer inherit the throne. They already preferred Gade, and now that Alan is gone, they have a perfect reason to make Gade their heir. Their greatest pain is me." Perseus pointed to himself. I am the son they dislike the most, the one who has suffered the most at their hands. Now I am their only hope for success. Don't be fooled by their apparent lack of hope. They still hope that I will help them out without holding a grudge. But I will not let them have their way. I will make them watch me soar to the top while they continue to rot and stink in a forgotten corner. This kind of torment of deep resentment and helplessness is far more painful for them than death. You truly are a master at manipulating people's hearts, using their desires and greed to torment them in return, Ivaisa said meaningfully. Perseus laughed it off and didn't dare linger on the topic. Where's your second brother? She asked again. I remember you hate him the most. You were the one who asked him to handle your eldest brother's affairs. Don't you plan to pursue the past and take him under your wing? How could that be? Perseus shrugged. I just wanted to give him a little hope first, to make him think that he could turn his life around and become the person he's always dreamed of being. Then, when he's at his most complacent and forgetful, I'll bring him back to reality and stomp him into an abyss of no return. His eyes gleamed in the darkness, a smile playing on his lips. Ivaisa watched him silently, not surprised at all. That's in line with this man's style of doing things. I won't spoil it for you. Just look forward to it, Perseus said. I don't look forward to it at all. You're bound to do something disgusting again anyway. She was right. The execution of Alan and Takina was basically complete, and as long as they didn't do anything else reckless, he didn't bother to add any new measures. But for Gade, this is just the beginning. His good second brother absolutely deserves to be treated with such seriousness. For now, he doesn't need to pay attention to the parent family. That home had nothing to do with him anymore. At most, he would occasionally glance at it as if to make a show of it. Our attention and focus should now be shifted elsewhere. For example, what's the story with that girl? Ivaisa asked. Perseus felt a weight lifted from his shoulders, a mixture of nervousness and excitement. She finally asked, Chapter 127 quota. You want to ask about Carol? Perseus glanced in Carol's direction and asked with a smile. That should be your name. That's right. Ivaisa said expressionlessly. Yes, I knew you'd ask that. After all, it happened so suddenly. You must have a lot of questions, right? I'm not in the mood to listen to your nonsense right now. So, Ivaisa's face darkened. I expected that, Perseus said with a bright smile. But don't worry, I would never misunderstand. The fact that Ivia had spoken before her made her even more upset, visible to the naked eye. Perseus knew this was bad, so he quickly omitted a whole bunch of flirtatious remarks and sighed seriously. Sigh, I originally intended to just kill her. Ivaisa was slightly taken aback. She could tell that Perseus wasn't joking. Moreover, he promised he would never lie to her. So, Carol really almost died a violent death just now? You should understand how I feel, right? Perseus said calmly. You have suffered unspeakable pain, and others know nothing about it, or even the whole story. Yet they point fingers at you and criticize you as if they were the embodiment of justice. If she's really so righteous, why didn't she stand up for me when I was being abused by that family? Perseus's smile gradually turned cold. So, she has no right to comment on my affairs at all, but she did it anyway, and acted bravely and fearlessly, foolishly and confidently. How can I forgive her? I understand, Ivaisa said. She truly understands. Then she said, while I understand your feelings, I can't understand why you did something else when you clearly wanted to kill her. Of course, it's because I don't want to waste it, Perseus said calmly. Oh, I'm serious, Perseus said earnestly. No matter how you treat someone who deserves to die, it's not too much. Killing her directly would be too easy on her. Once she's dead, she won't know anything anymore. How can she reflect on her mistakes and realize that her so-called upholding of justice is nothing more than a secondary injury to me, the poor victim? But I think it's more pitiful for her to meet you, Ivaisa commented objectively. That's her own fault, Perseus argued. But then again, I could have killed her if I wanted to, but I spared her life. She should be grateful to me, don't you think? Very well, Ivaisa said. Then tell me, besides wanting her to deeply realize her mistakes and punish and torture her, is there any other reason why you don't kill her? Didn't I tell you? Because I don't like waste. Ivaisa stared at him intently. Perseus cleared his throat awkwardly. Okay, I admit, the other reason is she's very beautiful. Her figure is to my liking, and although her personality is terrible, it makes me interested in correcting and teaching her. Really, please don't add as expected. It makes me feel like you think all the honest things I said before were just high-sounding excuses. I was clearly very sincere. But the reality is that you not only did that kind of thing to her, but you also kept her by your side. I admit I was a bit blinded by lust, but that's really not the main reason. You have to believe me. Oh, actually, I really did get revenge on her this way, Perseus said calmly. The proof is that although she's very beautiful, I don't care about her at all. If she dares to cause trouble for me, I can throw her away at any time. Although I had no hope for your character from the start, this is still... Go on, Perseus encouraged excitedly. Never mind. Ivia remained silent. Honey, are you upset? Perseus put his arm around her waist. Just say the word, and I'll take her home right now. I'm neither unhappy nor happy. I don't care about her staying or leaving at all. As long as she doesn't cause me any trouble or offend me, it's none of my business what you do with her. Really? Really? Ivisa looked at him. I share the same opinion about you and Winnie. Perseus's smile froze slightly. I didn't mean to hide it from you. You and she are childhood friends, and I was afraid you would be unhappy. She herself didn't want you to know either. You're overthinking it. What does it matter to me which woman you're looking for? Why should I nag about this like a complaining woman? We're not in that kind of relationship. So you're sure you'd be willing to hear the truth from me? Go ahead and say it, as long as the content isn't too disgusting. My relationship with Winnie is purely physical, just lovers, not lovers, Perseus said. If you have to say, her relationship with me is not much closer than my relationship with Carol, just more frequent. Does she agree with your idea? Ivisa asked coldly. She had better agree, or I'll cut ties with her completely. Ivia was silent for a moment, then said, Suit yourself. I don't want to say anything more. I thought you wouldn't allow me to hurt your friend like this. It's a matter of mutual consent. So how can it involve harm? Since you've already discussed it, you two can resolve any issues between you. There's no need to drag me into it. I understand. I promise I won't let other women's affairs bother you. But this is dangerous, Ivisa added. Perseus watched her silently. Theoretically speaking, regardless of whether you are tempted or not, once a relationship like that occurs between a man and a woman, many things become difficult to view rationally and difficult to categorize rationally. So what? Don't forget what you promised me. This is the foundation of our cooperation. If you break your promise, I will settle the score with you immediately and never look at you again. Ivisa said expressionlessly. Your entanglement with other women will cause big trouble. It doesn't matter if it's just the two of them now, but if you act impulsively a few more times, where will you find the time and energy to take care of my affairs? Perseus nodded seriously. Mr. Perseus, do you want to have all the pretty girls in the world? She asked. Of course not. Even if you gave me all of them, I wouldn't be able to handle it all. Then let's set a number, Ivisa said. 10. Your women, absolutely no more than 10. Perseus's mind immediately raced. Ivisa, Ellen, Luna, Milifara, Lovia. Winnie and Carol are not the women he wants right now, even though he already has them. Katie doesn't seem to feel anything yet. So, at most he can find 5 more women. That's quite a lot. 5 beautiful older sisters, pretty younger sisters, and even a pretty Annie are waiting for him to hunt them down. The only problem is, honey, are you one of these 10 spots? If we don't count him, he can find another one. What do you think? A hint of murderous intent flickered in Ivisa's eyes. Well, let's keep it in for now, just to be on the safe side. If there's an opportunity to look for more, then that's another story. Chapter 128, God of Tribulation. Perseus had originally intended to take this opportunity to pester her a little longer. The aloof Miss Ivisa was actually willing to condescend to set harem quotas for him, although she came up with a lot of high-sounding reasons. But these reasons can be completely ignored. And you still say you haven't fallen for him? Although it may only be a little bit. But even 1 in a billion is much better than 0. Let's leave it at that, Ivisa said. I'm afraid if we keep talking, I might kill you. Of course, don't get me wrong. I just can't stand your cunning, despicable, and shameless ways. Huh? Oh, there's nothing we can do about that. Although she appeared calm, she seemed genuinely angry. Maybe it's because I'm a little jealous. Perhaps it's just that they genuinely can't stand his behavior. Even he himself felt that some of his actions today were a bit out of line and did not conform to his usual cautious style. In this state, forcing a flirtation would only backfire, so he could only suppress the little beast within him. Tell me something else, something I've been wanting to ask, but haven't had the chance, Ivisa said. It was a rare moment when it was just the two of us alone, and you were just holding me. Yes, he really should reflect on this matter. Perseus felt ashamed for a moment, then laughed. What do you want to ask? I'll answer anything you know, as long